welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition of the WardiTV Monday, week number 63. Your weekly dose of open StarCraft. I'm Coach VIP. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the ByuN chat, and by my plushies as well. Welcome one and all to our replay coverage here of the WardiTV Monday. Once again, just to reiterate, this is an event that we used to cover live. We used to cast this live every single Monday on a weekly basis, but ever since October, we have had daylight savings in Europe, or daylight savings did hit Europe, and that means that the event starts a lot later in the day. It actually starts at 11 p.m. 11 p.m. here in Australia, so that's... and it's typically like a 4 to 5 hour cast, so it's just too much. Unfortunately, I don't really have the schedule to be able to cover an event at that time, so because of that, ever since October, we have been covering the event via replays a couple of days later, if not a week later at times, like this week, for example. So this is going to be a replay cast as a heads up. That's why the bracket command should be giving you a notification, of course, that this is going to be a replay cast instead. For now, though, we have our initial series, our initial best of 3. We're going to be jumping into the round of 16. So we have first our round of 16 match. We're going to be following that into the quarterfinals, into the semis, into the grand finals thereafter. We will, of course, be covering both semifinals. Bear that in mind. Both semis will be casted, and we all begin with our ZVT with Solar and ByuN. Let's go. Let's go. Game 1 is going to be on the Old Republic. So jumping into our first game. Jumping into our first series. Now again, Solar, he's been having a lot of success as of late, especially in the ZVP matchup, for sure. In his ZVT matchup, this is something that he has still been working on, and we have seen some mixed results. I'm curious to see how Solar has adjusted his approach here, as well as spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the Old Republic. We have the South Korean Zerg player, we have the Red Zerg, it is Solar. For Team Falcons, and spawning in the right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Red Terran player, we have the South Korean Terran. For Shopify, it is ByuN. Go. Welcome one and all to the Old Republic. Again, this is one of the larger maps in the map pool, much larger map, much more open third and fourth bases, specifically the fourth base. The fourth base is more open, is more exposed. It is going to be a longer rush spy ground, so it is more difficult to commit to something like a 3-base all-in to an 8 racks. That is going to be lessened coming into this patch, as there are worse maps for that sort of kind of play. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on how ByuN will approach this. Likewise, a little bit of chatter here between the two players. Opening up my Google Lens. Do we get any rough translations, Pappy? ByuN said that. So it looks like Solo was asking, "Hey, where have you been when it comes to the Open Cups?" True, I would actually echo those sentiments. Like, he has been a little bit MIA as of late. And ByuN said that he's been resting, that he's a little bit sick, he's a little bit under the weather, so he hasn't been around. It's been really annoying, is what ByuN said. So, yeah. And so I was like, "Oh, you have weak immunity. You need to eat more chicken." True. So they were joking a little bit. They're jokes, man. They're jokes. But yeah, it sounds like it's been a little bit under the weather. And now they're just talking about food. They're literally talking just about food now. Lovely. Goddamn. For now, though, we're going to be settling in. It is going to be a standard opener here at ByuN. Likewise, Solar just going hatch gas pool himself. Just opening up hatch gas pool. And we settled into the Old Republic. Once again, we were speaking on this. The longer rush distance by ground does kind of de-incentivize hyper-aggressive play early on. The more exposed bases will make it a little bit more difficult to turtle up as a Terran player coming into a 4th and 5th base. And the map itself is going to be a little bit more accessible to the Zerg. Going to Ling Bane, potentially even Muta play, is going to be an option here for Solar. Not just because of the buff to the Spire, but because of the map itself as well. So Solar does have a lot of options. Likewise, I would say the pressure is going to be heavily on ByuN here. I do favor the Zerg player coming into the Old Republic. We'll see how ByuN will adjust his approach. Let's go. Let us go. Also, a shout out to all those in the chat as well. I see MJG, I see Base Habits as well, Doom as well. Doom, I saw Tishish. So 36 in the chat. Esther 36. Ryan Victors. Bienvenidos. Bienvenidos, papi. As we have our tech of choice here, it is going to be a third CC before Starport, so economic build out of ByuN. Everything's looking normal, everything's looking very economic, very mid-tier, very mid-game, I should say. And likewise, Solo's just joining, so a very passive early game here. We're just building up, we're settling in. Again, because the map is so large, I don't really think it's necessary to go into Roach play, for example. We would see Roaches on Ruby Rock or on Tourmaline. On these smaller maps, that's where Roach play is a little bit more viable, or it does make more sense. Here, we embrace the Ling Bane back. Embrace the Ling Bane. I want chicken now. Oh no. What have we done? As interesting, so ByuN, he's going to be going for a Liberator first. He will delay any kind of Viking production, so it doesn't go Viking first, for example. He will delay his Medivacs, will delay his add-on in favor of early Liberator. So slightly more aggressive here by ByuN. We'll see if we can find some damage. Because there's no Tech Lab, there's no Banshee play, of course, and that means earlier stim. So earlier stim into Liberator. Can lead into an earlier stim timing, of course, from the side of ByuN. As we calm down. So far it's on Solo to maintain his creep spread, and there are limited attack class for the Hellions. Hellions is zoned away. Creep so far is spreading. It's spreading nicely. Again, it's on ByuN to stem the tide. Once again, trying to rotate. Just building up towards his sim timing. Getting extra maxes. Likewise, it is going to be a single Evo chamber out of Solar. Okay. Solar did get us out of the main base. He did see the third CC, so Solar's playing very safe. Essentially, what we could have seen here is a second Evo chamber and earlier 1-1 upgrades. Here, Solar just going for the single upgrade and then going for a delayed lair. So lair is going to be quite late in comparison. So late lair timing. Oof. As the fourth base was off center. That's what I was looking for. Was a little bit off center. But Carapace is going to be done early. And League's going to full surround. Yeah, the Hellies, there's no way out of this. They are going to be locked in. Fortunately, ByuN, he was out of position, and he will lose every single Hellion here. He does get a couple of drones at least, but this is still a massive loss for ByuN. Losing how many? Losing 5 drones for a 1-to-1 trade. 5 drones for 5 Hellions. Bearing in mind, I think 1 or 2 drones went down to the Liberator earlier. That's what some of the damage was dealt. But this tells me that the sim timing is going to be that much weaker. Ideally, as a Terran player, you maintain these Hellions, you survive into the mid game, and then you can have some Hellbats to support your main push. But now there are going to be no Hellbats. Second factory tells us that ByuN is going to be taking gases, and that he's taking up in towards a longer game state, in towards the 4th CC. So he's head towards the 4th CC. There's no 8 racks, there's no 3 base all in. And now there's even more pressure on ByuN. He's lost his Hellions. Now he has less map control. Creep is spreading freely, as there are no Hellions here to slow down the creep. So shaky start for ByuN. He's moving out. Vehicle plating. Wait, what? Wait, what? We have +1 armor on the way for ByuN. Interesting for his mech army. That is not often seen. As he pokes in. Gets a couple of tumors. Delays the 5th base. Buying some damage. I mean, will this help? I mean, technically, yes. Depending on what he's going for. As he is going with Mass Marine. He's moving out towards the left-hand side, going for a split push. Once again, we'll force a cancel. Not bad. Sorry, 5th base once again. Alien speed is just now finishing up, just in time for the main push. Nice target firing, but again, there are plenty of links. Plenty of links in position. +1 carry base is done. We can see the Solo's going into lane main Hydra. He's not rushing into Lurker Tech. Oh, sorry, I should say he's not rushing into Ultras. Oh, we lose a Queen. We lose one, doesn't quite lose the other. Very nice control. ByuN with the target firing, but he'll lose the medevac. And again, he's picking away, he's trading with the army. Meanwhile, Solar, he's running up to 83. So 83 workers, 5th base is on the way. Hive is in production as well. Solar, he's just building up his link main Hydra. I believe this should lead in towards Lurker Tech. Keep an eye on Solar. We'll see if he gets out of melee upgrades. And there it is, there's that Lurker Tech. That's going to be the big power spike for Solar. Basically, ByuN is on a timer. He has to get some damage done before the lurkers come online. And he has done well delaying the 5th base. That is true. Can he get more? As the 4th base is getting up. ByuN is still trying to be proactive. The best way to defend the 4th base here on the Old Republic is just to be hyper aggressive and force his Zerg player back home. Is the best approach. So far, ByuN is trading well. But still no major economic damage. That window's closing. Lurker Den is done. Hive is ready. And remember, the army that we're working with here for ByuN, at least, it's a relatively cheap army. It's Master Marine Widowmine. Try to funnel in. We get some decent splits, but there's still so much more Ling Bane. Ta-da! Yeah, Banelings do connect. Reinforcements on the way. Solar he holds, he defends. The splits were okay, but again, the Baneling connections were better. ByuN being forced further back. The one saving grace is that there are no lurker upgrades. Lurkers are morphing in, but I believe Solar he has forgotten said upgrades. So despite having a hive, despite having money for it, there we go. Lurker speed just now begins. It is late. So late lurker speed. And over time, Solar he is just outscaling ByuN. He's just outscaling him. As we're building up more lurkers. ByuN is incorporating more marauders at this point. Slowly. And eventually ByuN is going to need his ghost. Oh! We get an okay mine connection. But the Ling Bane still connects. Better mine shot towards the end. Jesus. Mine shots have been solid. Again, not really finding much damage. Ooh, full medevac goes down. Solar, he's holding, he's defending. How many lurkers do we have? 6. Not too many, only 6 so far. I'm just worried about the moments where Solar stops defending. As this entire game, Solar's just been on the back foot, he's been defending, absorbing all these blows. And once he moves out, it's going to be a tough hold here for ByuN. And speaking of, here comes Solar, here comes the army. We got 12 minutes in, here comes the first push. Banelings make their way into the mineral line. Ooh, massive connections, SCVs go down, planetary as well. And we spoke about it at the beginning of the game, the 4th base is so difficult to defend on the Old Republic. Many have tried, few have succeeded. And GG gets called with that Solar. He will take game number 1. He'll take a lead in the series. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, the Old Republic, it's a really difficult map to approach in this matchup, just because of how open it is, just because of how open the 4th base is, how large it is as well, so you can't really be too aggressive and too assertive as a Terran player, not like on Ruby Rock or Tourmaline, and likewise it isn't as turtle heavy or defensive as White Rabbit or say Winter Madness. So trying to turtle up and defend and get into Ghosts, it's more difficult here on the Old Republic. So once Solo could just absorb those blows, once he got into his lurkers, once he maxed out, snowball from there. GG. GG, well played with that. Solo does take lead in the series. Now we're loading into game number 2. Oh, speaking of, we're going to be loading into Winter Madness. This is the most defensive map of the map pool. You can make an argument for Celestial Enclave, but this is one of the more defensive maps, and this is a map where it should be a little bit easier for the Terran player to build up into a longer game. But let's go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the Red Zerg representing Team Falcons. Leading the series 1-0, it is Solar. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Blue Terran representing Shopify. It is ByuN. Here we go. So we settle into game number 2. And again, this map is, it has some similarities here to the Old Republic. It is a large map, it has a longer rush distance by ground, that is true, but as opposed to the Old Republic, the 3rd base, the 4th base, and even the 5th base expansions are much more defendable, they're much more secure. So ByuN should have an easier time taking up and getting towards Ghosts, into Liberators, into a longer game state. Instead, I would say the pressure is going to be on Solar this time. Last game, Solo was purely defending up until the end of the game. Here, I feel like there's going to be a little bit more onus on Solo to be the aggressor instead. I want to get something done. So far, we're just checking for proxies. No shenanigans early on. This time there's no chicken talk. Oh no. Not this time, Bappy, not this time. So we're locking in, Bappy, we're locking in. From here, we're just expecting a standard opener. 3rd CC for Starport economic build here at ByuN. That's what we're expecting. This time we might see Banshee play. True. If you remember last game, we did skip Banshees going for earlier stim. At this time, we might just embrace Cloak instead. It does poke in. Major damage. Does a nice mining time at least. That's all that ByuN does get. And no surprises here, there is that 3rd command center. So 3rd CC before Starport. The real question is, does ByuN go once again into Viking first, Liberator first, or Tech Lab into Banshee? Oh. As ByuN breaks in, pulls away. There's the auto swap into the Tech Lab. He's getting there. Oh, as ByuN does overextend, that should not have happened. Reaper goes down. I mean, no major losses here. ByuN, he was able to confirm the timing of the 3rd hatchery at least. He was able to deny some mining. We'll lose that Reaper. Once again, just like game 1, because of the size of the map, this is where going into Spire and going to Mutas is an option. It is going to be an option here for Solar. So we could try to play Lingbane Muta. I'll say there's more incentive to play Muta on Winter Madness just because you want to be finding some damage across the map. So there's a higher chance here. I would say the same about Celestial Enclave. But once again, Eva Chamber first, just like last game. Remember, last game was early Eva Chamber into +1 carapace, then into a 5:17-ish layer timing. So we have seen this. Meanwhile, there's Yadon Soul. We have Cloak on the way this time, so no Liberators, instead, Cloak Banshee. So ByuN has a little more harass potential. The downside, of course, is that Stim is going to be later. That should be fine. As, hey, the Banshee does find the 4th. Finds the 4th base. Let's get a couple of shots in. Does force a cancel, but does get it low. Does get low. We have 3 more racks on the way. For now, we're building up into a 5-rack setup. But ByuN does have my attention because there's no 3rd CC. Okay. So we're setting up for a 2-base all-in. Hyper aggressive here by ByuN. Wait, no, my apologies. 3rd CC here is on location. Has been thrown down. But my eyes are open here for extra racks. If we throw down 3 more racks, then we could commit into an all-in. I don't think it's necessary to go for a 3-base all-in here, Winter Madness. But ByuN, he might think that maybe he can catch Solar off guard. We'll keep an eye on him. That's my mistake. I didn't notice he took his 3rd. I gotta lock in that. The Banshees, they do get a couple of drone kills. 3 drones go down. King 3 getting a 4th drone. Okay. 4 or 5 drone kills. Pulls away. We're waiting for a factory, waiting for extra gases. Show us what you got. ByuN is going for a split push, and there it is. Second factory, and a gas geyser. So just like last game, he is going to be taking up in towards a longer game state into a 4th CC. So no all-in. ByuN is applying pressure, that is true. And hey, this time he preserved the Hellions, and you can see what he was wanting to do last game. Because the Hellions survived the early game, now we can morph into Hellbats. Now we have a stronger push to protect the tank. Ooh. Lings, they do surround. Nice tank fire here on the Banelings. But Banelings, they crash through the Hellbats, and ByuN, he will still lose everything here. Tank goes down, army gets cleaned up, some of the Marines do survive. But Solo's looking comfortable. Solo, he defends well. Once again, Solo going into Hydras. Oh. Banelings get pulled out. ByuN, he has momentum. Oh. Also some momentum here. Once again, denying Banelings. There's the 3 extra racks here, but again, that's after the gas, after the factory, so we're just building up into the mid-game. But as you mentioned at the beginning, it's going to be easier here for ByuN to defend his 4th base. Not saying that it's a guarantee, but it'll be easier compared to the Old Republic. As is going to lose the 2nd tank. Oof. Yeah, that's 2 tanks going down now. Back at home, ByuN, he doesn't really have that much at home to defend. I'm getting concerned about the counterattack whenever it does arrive. Now Solo's keeping up. Trying to at least. Just defend against the 6th base. Lurker Den is on the way. Again, things looking very similar compared to last game. We've had a bit of a different mid game, to be fair, but ByuN, he just lost 2 tanks. He lost 2 flanks, 2 armies essentially. So Solo's still looking quite in form. It's looking pretty good. And ByuN just hasn't really found any meaningful damage yet. And just like last game, ByuN's on a timer. Lurker Den is on the way. Lurker upgrade is going to be on the horizon as well. Oh. ByuN a little bit inattentive. Takes out some Marines. Solar, he has to be careful. Solar is maxed out, but a lot of that supply is still in production. And remember, it's going to be a maxed out Ling Bane Hydra army. No lurkers yet. But you can see the Solar, he wants to counterattack soon. Wants to move out. Fades out one of the mine shots. Oh my god. Massive connection. That's what mines. They're pretty good, Patty. They're pretty good. Oh, very nice abduction. ByuN is trading well across the map, forcing the entire army back home. Let's force Solar back. And I'm just waiting for the reinforcing lurkers. Remember, the lurker den is complete. Lurker range is done as well. After the next week fight, Solar can start to morph them in. And now ignores the army, going trying to go missing the bases, bleeding out a lot of Ling Bane. Jesus. All Ling's going down. Solar being very wasteful. Being a bit too wasteful. Gross production has begun. Solar does catch the army though. Nice connections. Knocks down some ByuN. Oof. Power bombs going up. There's just not really much on the ground. And Solar's just rallying. They're just rallying in. We get a couple of decent mine connections towards the end. So ByuN, he will defend his third, but he still will bleed out his entire army. And I'm still waiting for the Remax. Show us what you got. He's coming. There's still no room for lurkers. There's no free supply. But it's fine. It's fine, just rebuilding his Ling Bane. ByuN, he's pretty committed here. And Solar, he's going for the base trade. I mean, good call. This base doesn't matter. This hatchery just does not matter. Solar, he commits. ByuN has to respond. Up. ByuN does race back. In the process, he'll lose the entire mineral line though. 23 SCVs, 23 workers. And Solar can keep rallying. Cannon will just keep going. Once again, zones away. Nice one on my shot here in the Banelings, but the CC does go down. That's 30 SCVs. Ay, ay, ay. That's 2 mineral lines. And Solar, he should just back off, rebuild, and do it again. Just keep doing it again. Just keep hammering down this third location, this natural location. Ignore the fourth, ignore the planetary. Lunkers, they're finally morphing in. We got 9 lurkers on the way. And ByuN is hurting. He's been hurting for quite some time now. A lot of it came down to the failed pushes and the failed aggression. ByuN lost so much supply going for his drops, going for his tank pushes. let out too much in the mid game to the point where he could not really threaten from there. Just stuck at home, relinquish map control. Lunkers, they're moving in. Trying to go for the planetary. They do get it. Planetary goes down. And Solo looking to take a clean series here, as he was never in any real danger in either game 1 or here in game 2. Ah. That's it for Zayparo. Nice snipes. Nice snipes on some of the lurkers. A better trade here from ByuN. For the first time in a long time, actually a better trade for the Terran. Oh god. But GG gets called as ByuN. He is far down in supply. 13 more CVs go down to another run by, and Solar will take the series at 2-0. GG. Whew. GG, well played Solar. He will claim the series. He will take the 2-0. Again, just a really rocky series here from ByuN. Game 1 especially. Game 2 was a little bit more back and forth. But game 1, we saw that ByuN, he tried to be a little bit more assertive here, but he did lose a lot of momentum early on, losing his Hellions, losing map control, and we saw Solar snowball from there. Similar story here in game number 2, where ByuN was being very aggressive with his early tank pushes. Remember, he had 2 different tank pushes, but each time he ended up getting flanked, he got shut down, his tanks would fall, and he would just lose map control, allowing Solar to drone up freely and to max out from there. Again, like, Solar barely lost any drones throughout the course of this series. Despite the attempted drop plays, ByuN, he wasn't really able to achieve too much with that, and from there he was just outscaled. GG, well played. So again, just a rough mid-game there from ByuN, both in game 1 and game 2. And with that Solar, he will advance on into the quarterfinals, and unfortunately we won't follow him there. Again, we are at the behest of the replays that Wardi did gather. Instead, we're going to be heading over to the quarterfinals over on a different portion of the bracket. Going to be heading over to Clem versus Shin, another TvZ. Let's go.